Right, so could you just introduce yourselves for the record, please?
Damion Crawford, Senator, spokesperson, education.
All right, Rasheen Roper Robinson, Junior, spokesperson on education and training.
No, Senator Crawford and Mrs. Roper
Robinson.
right. Sorry. Senator Crawford and Mrs. Roper Robinson, powerful presentation this morning by the People's National Party. How is the opposition feeling about the ministry's preparedness or lack thereof going into the start of the 2022 academic year?
We're alarmed. We're alarmed about it is what it is.
Extremely concerned.
Yeah.
And we are even more concerned because the negatives of their actions will be met upon the children of our country. So the concern is not only for their ineptitude, but for the results of their ineptitude.
Right.
And it's coming on the back of our children not having had a proper education experience in 2 years. All should have been done to ensure that this year we would not have delays of furniture, of books, of teachers, and those have not been done, unfortunately.
Has there been any correspondence between the opposition and the government in this regard? Is it that they've been ignoring these proposals, or it's sort of them being steadfast in
I'm not aware, but the history is that the Prime Minister have not been willing to have the royal talks with the leader of the opposition. So if that is the example being set, why would the Minister of Education be willing to have any type of talks, backyard talks, with the opposition spokesperson on education? Additionally, the Minister have not been engaged in the Jamaica Teachers Association and has been neglecting and ridiculing their comments, their concerns, and their proposals. This was seen with the ask for a delay in the summer school program, which eventually turned out to be an abject failure because the teachers didn't participate.
Right.
So her unwillingness to engage would suggest to us that we would be lower on the totem pole than the Principals Association of Jamaica or the Jamaica Teachers Association, or from the government to government. If education is an aspect, I'm sure the leader would invite me and the Prime Minister would have invited her at a very royal conversation. Senator Bunting also spoke to the fact that even the crime talks have fallen apart because of the unwillingness to engage. So I have not had an official communication from her, but if I should bet, I would bet that it would not be facilitated.
You spoke in your presentation about a statistic from the World Bank that around $4 billion would be needed to properly steer Jamaica in terms of education, and only $1 billion has been allocated by the government. Are the results essentially bearing fruit?
Well, it is even worse than you have stated, because the $4 billion is for the learning loss, not for the efficient of the education. So there were some students that didn't have computers, that didn't learn properly through the online system, etc. They have assumed that the loss of learning over the last 2 years would need $4 billion, and that has not been implemented. You cannot implement a spend for learning loss over time, because the loss is continuous. The person moves to another level. So if you have learning loss of your 3-grade experience, you can't say, oh, we'll do that over the next 5 years, because the next 5 years you're now in your 8-grade experience and would not have had the ability to it's not a conveyor belt. Right, it's not a retroactive. And that is the unfortunate strategy that they have taken. But within our society, $1 billion sounds a lot. And so the announcement of $1 billion is often politically beneficial, because the worst thing for a government to do is nothing. But a government needs to do more than nothing. It needs to do sufficient, and they are not doing sufficient. So if the World Bank says $4 billion, then for the government to ignore that with a budget of $800 billion, with discretionary spend of $200 billion, if Jamaica can't find $4 billion to reverse learning loss, then it says we're either not interested in our children or we're not interested in our future. And both of them are of great concern to the People's National Party.
Lisa Hanna's exit from the political space. Can I have a reaction, please?
I think that is being incorrectly stated as an exit. Lisa Hanna said in 3 years she will not offer herself. We therefore have the next 3 years to convince Lisa Hanna to stay. So we'll take those 3 years. Lizana still remains a member of the People's National Party, a member of Parliament, of the Jamaica Parliament, representing the opposition benches, and also a part of the shadow spokesperson. The talents of Lizana should not be allowed to step aside in 3 years as easily as people perceive the People's National Party will allow it. So I'm not in a position to be engaging, but I'm sure those who are must be willing and must be active in engaging.
If the seat becomes vacant, would you have an interest?
I'm very good standing as we are. I'm not considering where or what or when a seat will come. I have high confidence in my abilities and my competence. I feel that my opinions of the world, opinions of the country are getting once again accepted, as has been identified by the Prime Minister himself, taking many of our ideas in the manifesto, and the Minister of Finance trumpeting many of our ideas that he once ridiculed. So I'm excited by where the country's opinion is going, and it is going in a direction that I have always felt it should have gone. And in time, cream will rise to the top, and I also hope to God that I'm cream.